It's World Oceans Day and a great opportunity to reflect on sea turtles and the Bermuda Turtle Project, one of the most valued sea turtle research, education, and conservation programs in the world. Sea turtles are survivors, predating the existence of dinosaurs. Catastrophic events that wiped out thousands of species were somehow survived by these ocean dwellers, which have enjoyed our oceans for more than 125 million years. Sea turtles are cold-blooded reptiles and breathe air through their lungs. They are designed for life in the ocean. Their bodies are streamlined compared to their relatives, the tortoises and freshwater turtles, and long, powerful front flippers enable them to swim great distances at sea and outmaneuver predators. The hind flippers act like a rudder on a boat, controlling direction, and they are very proficient at digging perfect holes in the sand for eggs. These animals are long-lived and take a long time to reach maturity. Sea turtles spend their entire lives in the ocean, except for the occasion when females come ashore to lay their eggs. Both males and females make incredibly long migrations across oceans to return to the very place where they were born. The males stay just offshore, ready to compete for females, who will make the journey onto the beach under the cover of darkness, to carefully select a nesting site, meticulously scoop out a nest chamber, and deposit up to 200 soft-shelled eggs. This laborious task can take hours, and her work is not done until she has covered the eggs, gently packing sand around them, and then disturbing the surrounding area to disguise the location of her nest. She may repeat this process up to 7 times in each nesting season, which continues every 2 years for the rest of her long life. At the bottom of the nest chamber, under some 2 feet of sand, the eggs are left to incubate for 60 days. There is no parental care in sea turtles, and unlike many animals, a sea turtle's sex is not determined at the time of conception, but instead is influenced by the temperature of the sand in the nest, with warmer temperatures producing females and cooler sand producing males. After hatchlings break through the eggshells, the various fluids drain away, creating an individual airspace. As more eggs hatch, a volume of shared airspace surrounds the emerging hatchlings, who, stimulated by the jostling and hatching of siblings on all sides, start to wiggle and dig towards the surface. As the hatchlings move upward as a group through the sand, the shared airspace moves with them. This act of social facilitation results in the majority of hatchlings reaching the surface at the same time. It can take several days and nights, with many periods of rest and re-energizing to reach the top. Once near the surface, the heat has an immobilizing effect on the hatchlings. This is nature's way of keeping them from exposing themselves during the heat of the day. In the late afternoon, the sand cools quickly, and this is the time for hatchling emergence. Mortality is high amongst hatchlings. Some may never make it out of the nest, and on the beach there are a host of predators like crabs and shorebirds waiting. Logs and debris on the beach can hinder their ability to get to the ocean, and once they reach the water's edge, there are countless fish and seabirds that love to dine on hatchling sea turtles. Their survival technique is a frenzied swim into the ocean, as far away from land as possible, where there are fewer predators. It is estimated that only 1% of all hatchlings survive to become adults. No wonder a female sea turtle must lay so many eggs. The swim frenzy may last for several days and is designed to carry the hatchlings into open ocean gyres that serve as nursery grounds for a number of years. Sea turtles are circumtropical, meaning they inhabit oceans, seas, and associated waters in tropical areas throughout the world. They are highly migratory, spending different phases of their life in numerous ocean regions. All sea turtle species are endangered or threatened, and their continued survival on Earth now depends on us. They were doing just fine on this planet until men introduced unsustainable practices and many new threats. That list is long and not limited to harvest for consumption, illegal trade of eggs, meat, and turtle shell, commercial fishing, coastal development and habitat destruction, artificial lighting on beaches, coastal armoring, marine debris, ocean pollution, global warming, and more. Bermuda's connection with sea turtles goes back to the first landings of humans on our shores at a time when turtles were a valuable resource for our survival. Despite legislation adopted in 1620 to protect against the taking of juveniles, by the end of the 1700s, the adult turtle population was so reduced by hunting pressure that a commercial harvest was no longer profitable. The law failed to halt the destruction of our breeding colony. If our forefathers understood sea turtle biology, effective conservation measures would have been possible. Today, Bermuda is one of a small number of locations worldwide where post-pelagic, immature turtles occur in the complete absence of adults. It may be the best site in the world where green turtles of this age can be studied in their natural habitat. Where most studies of sea turtles take place on nesting beaches, Bermuda provides scientists and resource managers with a unique opportunity to study the little understood juvenile stage. 5 of the world's 7 sea turtle species are known to occur in Bermuda. Let us take a closer look at them. The leatherback turtle is occasionally seen passing by Bermuda on their migrations. It is a species with a bizarre shell adapted to its pelagic deep diving lifestyle. This is the largest living reptile, growing to 2,000 pounds. It gets its name from the thick leathery skin that covers the bone of the shell, lacking the typical hard scales of most turtles. Unlike the other sea turtle species, the leatherback roams the seas as far north as Alaska, Nova Scotia, and even Iceland, and it is capable of deep dives in excess of 3,000 feet. A perfect diving machine, this species can maintain its body temperature as much as 10 degrees above that of surrounding waters, an adaptation for survival in cold seas. Leatherbacks feed almost exclusively on jellyfish, and this can lead to accidental ingestion of plastic bags. Considering jellyfish are 97% water, one must wonder how such an enormous ocean-going reptile subsists on a diet of mostly water. No doubt the quantity of jellyfish consumed is vast. Kemp's Ridley turtles are the smallest species of sea turtle with an average weight of 100 pounds. These turtles are carnivores with a diet that consists of mollusks, crustaceans, small fish, sea urchins, and jellyfish. It is a critically endangered species that goes through much of its life cycle within the Gulf of Mexico and along the eastern seaboard of the United States. However, some immatures venture out into the Atlantic, and at least 4 have found their way into Bermuda waters. The hawksbill turtle has a hawk-like beak from which it gets its name. It uses its beak primarily to pry sponges off the reef, but the diet may also include other invertebrates. This is one of the smaller species of sea turtles, with adults reaching about 150 pounds. Immature hawksbills are a regular inhabitant of the coral reefs of the Bermuda platform. This species is among the most endangered of all sea turtles. Global populations have been severely depleted through overharvesting, particularly for their beautiful shells, a highly prized commodity in many countries. The hawksbill has been exploited worldwide for most of recorded human history. The loggerhead has a large, broad head and powerful jaws, which it uses to dine on shellfish. Loggerheads eat crabs, clams, mussels, sea urchins, and jellyfish, and are even capable of crushing very thick-shelled conchs. This species has a reddish-brown shell and grows to 350 pounds or more. Hatchling loggerheads spend their first months well camouflaged in floating rafts of sargassum weed. It's not uncommon for juveniles to strand on Bermuda shores, often still clinging to small clumps of sargassum. In 1990, and again in 2005, a single nest constructed by a loggerhead was discovered on a beach in Bermuda. These two nesting events are the first record of loggerheads nesting in Bermuda, and the first records of any sea turtles nesting since the early 1900s. The green turtle, with adults growing to 450 pounds in weight, has been sought after worldwide for its meat. Their name comes from the greenish color of the body fat, which has been used for centuries to make turtle soup. The green turtle is the most common sea turtle species on the Bermuda platform. Green turtles are unique among sea turtle species in being strongly herbivorous, feeding almost exclusively on seagrasses and algae. The green turtle is often seen feeding on Bermuda's shallow seagrass pastures. A green turtle nest observed in Bermuda in 2015 was the first in almost a century. With esteemed scientific directors, effective, long-standing partnerships, excellent science, and a lot of passion, the Mark and Recapture study of the Bermuda Turtle Project has examined and analyzed information from some 4,000 green turtles and 138 hawksbills living in our inshore waters. More than 1,500 recaptures of tagged green turtles provide one of the largest data sets in the world on growth rates and movements of free-ranging immature green turtles. So what have we discovered? In addition to discovering the year-round presence of green turtles and hawksbills, long-term consistent monitoring tells us that sea turtles arrive in Bermuda at a very young age and spend up to 20 years as juveniles on our beautiful seagrass flats and reefs. Genetic analysis shows that these young turtles hatched on beaches in Costa Rica, Florida, Mexico, Cuba, Suriname, Aves Island, and as far away as Guinea-Bissau in West Africa. Once in Bermuda, they choose a seagrass foraging ground to which they exhibit strong site fidelity. They demonstrate daily shuttling behavior between feeding grounds and sleeping sites and slow down physiologically in cold months and use a much larger area. Turtles tagged in Bermuda have later been captured as far away as Texas, Grenada, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. Bermuda tagged turtles seen nesting on beaches thousands of kilometers away in Costa Rica, Mexico, and Florida suggest it takes almost 2 decades before they are mature enough to nest, after their decades growing up in Bermuda. The most powerful message from our findings is that sea turtles are a shared resource, crossing many geographic and political boundaries. Vigilant management, protection, and international cooperation throughout the region is essential to long-term survival of this species. We see a trend developing for a female-biased sex ratio. It's most likely global warming is leading to feminization of green turtles in the North Atlantic and elsewhere. Seagrass beds, a vital ecosystem in their own right, are receding in Bermuda and around the world, a sure sign of ecosystems out of balance. Although well protected, sea turtles in Bermuda are subject to mortality caused by ocean pollution and debris. Entanglement in discarded fishing line and boat strikes have been on the rise. While Bermuda's nesting sea turtles were extirpated almost a century ago, the good news is that our few isolated nesting events offer hope for nesting of sea turtles in Bermuda's long-term future. Beyond active research and advocating for better conservation, the project is building capacity and enhancing relationships with overseas jurisdictions, particularly those with responsibilities to help manage the source populations for Bermuda's turtles. After adding an annual in-water course in 1996, we have imparted hands-on experience, knowledge, and expertise to 216 students from 41 jurisdictions, including many Bermudians. When these biologists return to their communities, they share what they have learned, establish new research initiatives, influence policy, and inspire new generations of environmental guardians. Sea turtles play a myriad of roles in the ecosystem as predator and prey, competitors and hosts, and conduits for energy and nutrient movement. These amazing imperiled creatures are vital to the continued ecological balance of the oceans. Whether or not sea turtles survive ultimately depends on what actions ordinary people are willing to take, and how effectively that action can be coordinated among communities and nations. The ocean is our backyard wilderness, and all life within it a precious resource we should look after. The ocean can thrive without us, but we cannot survive without the oceans.